Major funding for these broadcasts has been provided by grants from Capital One Bank, New York Community Bank, Eastern Consolidated, M&T Bank, Sterling National Bank, Meridian Capital Group, Customers Bank, Aerial Property Advisors, Dime Community Bank. Additional funding has been provided by AmTrust Title Insurance Company, AVR Realty Company, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Briarwood Organization, CBRE, Chase Commercial Term Lending, Chase Mortgage Lending, JP Morgan Chase, Citizens Bank, Colliers International NYC, Collins Building Services, CPEX Real Estate Services, Douglaston Development, Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handler Real Estate Organization, Handro Properties, Hodges Ward Elliott, Inc., Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Center at Syracuse University, Kilroy Architectural Windows, Madison Realty Capital, Matone Group, Mercantile Bank, New Banks, Newmark Knight Frank, Optimum Window Manufacturing Corp., People's United Bank, Rockefeller Group, Rosewood Realty Services, SJP Properties, Stonehenge Partners, TD Bank, Terra CRG, the Marinkoff Family Foundation, the Moynihan Organization, Moynihan Capital Partners, and these friends.
Franklin, Illinois. A farm? Picking up beans? A bookbindery? A sub shop? Central Illinois College. Chicago, Illinois. I'm going to get involved with a firm. One goes bankrupt. There's a new one over here. I'm going to get involved with a firm where I'm going to get involved with banking. I'm going to come to the Big Apple. I'm going to become the chairperson of an accounting professional firm with revenues close to $900 million. I have Wendy Cama, who is the chairperson and the head of the New York practice for Crowe Horwath. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me here.
So tell me about your mother's side and then your father's side.
So my mother's family came from Jacksonville, Illinois, and my grandfather was an electrician. And my grandparents both volunteered a lot. They worked in the local hospital and really helped to support the community.
When did their family come to Jackson?
You know, I really couldn't tell you other than I know that my great grandfather and grandmother grew up in Jacksonville, Illinois as well. So there's a few generations that have been there.
Was that side of the family also in farming originally?
No, my great grandfather was in the armed services.
And we have a picture of him, hopefully.
We do, yes.
On your mom's side?
Yes.
So tell me about dad's side.
My dad's side of the family are farmers. My grandfather was a farmer. Quite honestly, I never knew my great-grandparents on my father's side.
What was raised on the farm?
We raised almost everything on the farm. It's a typical Midwestern farm. We had soybeans.
How many acres?
I think my father had around 120 acres. Small farm, but we raised soybeans and corn and wheat and alfalfa. We had...
you had pigs?
We had pigs. We had cows.
You had chickens too?
Yes.
Now, so who worked on the farm? I mean, were there other relatives who worked on the farm?
You know, my uncles all helped my family out, and certainly the neighbors. And when it came time to baling hay, generally they would rotate from farm to farm, and they would all pitch in and they would help, and they would hire local people.
Now the farm was in Franklin,
yes,
Illinois. Mom's side was from Jacksonville.
Yes.
How did Mom meet Dad?
That's a really great question. I don't actually know how my mother and father met. I think they may have met in college because they did go to college for a few years.
Now, Mom went to college for what?
I couldn't even tell you, other than she ended up working as a medical secretary. So I think she went to like some specialized classes, and my father never finished college.
Right, but probably he took something more in the engineering, because later on in life, from the farm, he got involved with the HVAC and sheet metal, you told me.
He did. He decided the farm was not sufficient to support his family. And
So tell me about the town. The town had, you said to me, 5 churches.
Yes.
A fire department, a police department, no bars.
Dry town.
Dry town, right.
You know, it was one of those towns that you grow up in a rural community where that's where people go. You go there for church, you go there on the weekends. The 4th of July was a big event. Everybody was at the local park, and there were fireworks, and there were, basketball and baseball games, and we made burgoo. It was a big thing to make the burgoo in the big kettles around the park that the men would stir all night and prepare. And you'd have the bands playing and the little rides for the kids. That was a type of town Franklin was and still is.
You have a sister, right?
I do.
Who's older?
She's older, 2 years older.
Yeah, you're born in what year?
67.
Okay. So tell me about growing up in Franklin as a kid.
It was really great growing up, and I grew up 12 miles outside of town, so I didn't actually grow up in the town of
So
Franklin.
you were really isolated, okay?
I was isolated. I had to take a bus to school, and I would need to have my parents drive me.
How big was the school?
I had 28 people in my graduating high school class, so the high school was at best 100 people.
Now, was it a school from kindergarten to high school, or were there different levels, like a public school and then a junior high school or a high school?
So when I was there were 2 different schools, and kindergarten through 6th grade were in one school a block away, and then 7th grade through senior year were in another school.
You said to me you were very athletic. You played baseball?
I played baseball on the boys' baseball team because we only had a boys' baseball team when I was young.
Which position did you play?
I played second base.
Right.
And I was either a first or second leadoff batter.
Boy.
Little did I know how upset that made some other of the boys who sat on the bench and their parents, but it was great growing up on the farm.
Now, you also mentioned to me growing up on the farm, since it was a responsibility of the family to work, you used to pick up soybeans?
I used to walk beans for my uncle.
So what do you mean by walking beans? This is an education for me.
So back in the day, you had to walk up and down the rows of beans with a sickle or a hoe, and you had to cut the weeds out of the beans. That was before they, really got much better and improved at finding chemicals and sprays that would kill the weeds but not kill the beans. So we would literally walk up and down the rows of beans.
Now, besides working on the sickle and the beans, you told me that later on, I think in high school, you worked in a book bindery?
I did. I actually roller skated in a book bindery.
What do you mean you roller skated in a book bindery?
So as you can imagine, as orders were coming in for books, there are shelves and shelves and shelves and rows of books. And it was quicker for those of us working there to be on roller skates. And we would skate up and down the aisles, grabbing the books to fill the order as we needed.
Okay, so it was more of a book warehouse as opposed to a bindery.
They did the binding as well.
Really?
And then it was a warehouse where they sold the books.
And they shipped them.
And they shipped them.
So tell me about the summers, because you really spent most of your time, you said, in Illinois and then in the Ozarks, okay? You never saw New York City. You didn't even see Chicago.
No. I saw Chicago when I was probably in middle school, when my sister went away to Japan, and I traveled with the family up to Chicago to see her off to Japan.
So she went to Japan.
She did. She
did.
Okay. So, but growing up in the summers, we're mostly on the farm. I spent a lot of time with my 2 cousins, Clint and Jolene.
Right, and we have pictures of your cousins at your wedding, right?
They were like a brother and sister to me, and they were younger than I was, but I spent a lot of time either babysitting for them or over at their house. They had a swimming pool, the above-ground pool, which was a place to go. And we just kept ourselves entertained, playing baseball and things out in the
So
yard.
when did Dad decide to leave the farm and get involved with the sheet metal and the HVAC business?
I think he left farming probably around 77 or 78. I was maybe 10 years old or so. And he decided that he needed a better life because farming,
But
a
you
good
still
year or a bad
but
year.
you still lived on the farm.
Still
and you
lived on the farm.
And you still did some farm work.
He sold a lot of the acreage, but we kept the beef cows, and he grew alfalfa, and we kept the horses.
And the beans, of course.
We got rid of those
What happened?
some
You lost
point.
your job.
well, that's when he went into the HVAC business. That's when I went to the bookbindery, I guess.
Okay. So you graduated high school. As you said to me, there were only 28 people. When you were going to high school, did you have any idea that you're going to get involved with the world of accounting?
I had no idea. One of the other things about a school that small was, not really taking any college type courses and, not as well prepared, I think, for the outside world. There weren't many people, quite honestly, that went to college out of my town.
But the interesting thing is you said mom and dad did both go to college for a period of time.
They did. They did.
So how did you make a decision to go to Central Illinois?
I ended up going to Illinois State because several of my friends went there, quite honestly. I hadn't planned to
You
go.
said to me it was in the Twin Cities. What Twin Cities?
Bloomington Normal,
And where was Bloomington Normal?
right in the center of Illinois. It's about 2 hours straight south of Chicago.
So tell me about going over there.
It was quite a shock to me, quite honestly. The dormitory that I lived in had 2,700 students in it, and I was on the 27th floor of that dorm, so it was a little something.
Shell
unique.
shock. I mean, from 28 students in the senior class. So when you went there, did you go liberal arts or accounting or business? What happened?
And I'd always liked math and science, and I tested very well in math, so it was recommended I go into math. And after my first calculus class, I decided that was not for me. And then I went into biology because I like science. And it wasn't until my junior year of college that I realized that there wasn't any career that I saw myself in with a biology major. And so a counselor suggested I take an accounting course. So I took my first accounting course
In your
my
junior
junior
year.
year of college.
Now, when did you get the job in the sub shop? Because you told me you worked in a sub shop. And tell me about your boss. I remember he was like your mentor.
Yes. So I worked in a sub shop called Subconscious. And I started working there, I think, my freshman year. I worked there almost all through college. And in fact, the last probably 3 summers of college, I stayed there and I worked. And my boss's name was Frank Viverito. And he had a very large family. And he and his wife ran the sub shop.
Now, the sub shop was near the campus of...
It was right on campus, so it was a very busy place to be, and especially on Sunday nights when the dorms were closed, there was no food service.
So did you assemble the subs, or you were a cashier or a server, or...
All of the above. We had burgers, we had a grill, we had subs. I made food, I sliced food, I served food, I did the books. That's when I started using my accounting skills.
So that was your first
Yes.
entree into accounting.
That's absolutely right.
So what year did you graduate college? 1990?
1990.
So it's 1990, and how do you end up Chicago?
But most of my friends that I met in college were from Chicago. And so when I came time to look for a job, there were also many accounting firms that came onto campus for recruiting.
So there was this firm called Laventhal Horwath, right? Very well-known accounting firm, very prominent. Some specialties included hospitality.
Right.
So they take the young kid over there. What happens?
I had an internship there for about 3 months, and then I got a full-time offer.
That was in the summer.
My internship was in the spring, January, February, March. I graduated in May. I started full-time in September, and they filed bankruptcy and closed their doors in November of that same year.
So what happened to them?
They had some problems. There was some kickbacks being taken by some partners. There was some litigation over the old savings and loan industry, some issues there, and they just couldn't keep the doors open.
So you start in June, they close in September.
Started in September, they closed in November, right before Thanksgiving.
And what happens? Now you're unemployed.
I was unemployed, living in Chicago, new car, new apartment, the whole deal. But I was very fortunate that one of my partners from Laventhal and Horwath, who I had worked with and was close to our young starting class, he really made a pledge to try to take care of everyone. And he got a job at the time it was Crowe and Company.
So Crowe at that time was a Midwest. How large was the firm?
Oh my goodness. I don't know how large they were 20 years ago, maybe 100 million in revenue at the time.
So they were a regional firm?
They were a
really-
regional firm, yes.
And at that time, their specialties were what?
Banking has always been a specialty there. They were certainly into manufacturing, distribution. They had a systems consulting group that was fairly new in building. And quite honestly, we built a little bit of the hospitality and the retail dealerships from people from Crowe Horwath who came to Crowe at that time.
So you're over there, you're working in banking, and then you told me one of your audits was in the manufacturing also.
Yes.
So you were in manufacturing, but predominantly banking. And then it's 1998, and the firm said they wanted to do some strategic planning, it said to me, correct?
So we were doing strategic planning throughout, and I'd say it was probably maybe closer to 2000 when our banking group had a meeting to talk about strategy for the banking group and what our plans needed to look like in terms of expansion.
So what happens to, at this time you're just like a manager, correct?
I'm a senior manager
You're a
at the
senior
time.
manager over there, you're living in Chicago, and you're in the banking group, that's where you are. And what was the strategy plan that they decided to do?
So from a strategic perspective, we recognized that we had fairly saturated the markets that we were in at that time, and that in order to continue growing, we needed to geographically expand. And there were, probably 5 markets that were identified, one of them obviously being the New York Metropolitan market, that would be good for our banking group to move into.
Now, you said to me you went to one event, and you met people, so you did some networking. Tell me about that event,
Yeah, so
which helped you grow.
it was a Financial Managers Society. It was a national conference that was in Chicago in 2001. I was the president of the local Chicago chapter of FMS at the time, and so the New York, New Jersey chapter had a cocktail party at this national conference, and they invited the presidents and officers of the other local chapters. So I decided to attend this cocktail party and see who I could meet, because it was a New York market that I was interested in.
Now, with regard, now we know that until you went to college, you never really left anything with Chicago or the Ozarks or some other. Had you come to New York at that time during the?
No, I had
So
not.
you still had not come to New York.
No.
So it's 2001, and you're out of college. You're a senior manager. And then what happens? You and your partners, they make a strategic decision after all the meetings that you say that there's a need, because the big 4 at that time was may have been the big 8 or the big 6 by that time.
Yeah.
We're only doing the major banks. And you said there was a niche opportunity to go after the smaller banks.
Right. We definitely saw an opportunity as I started traveling out to New York and New Jersey, and really assessing the landscape and the competition and the opportunities.
See, New Jersey had some farms, so that's
That's right. I had a partner, John Kendall, back in Chicago with me, who was very supportive of me traveling out here and really meeting people and trying to understand what the market looked like. And he helped put together a strategic plan that showed the opportunities and how we really thought we could compete, because there were small firms, regional firms, and the big 4 in the market, but not really kind of that middle tier firm that we thought we could compete very well in.
So how does Wendy make a decision to pack up her bags from Chicago in 2003 and come to New Jersey as opposed to New York City? Why was New Jersey decided, or Roseland?
We ended up in Livingston, New Jersey, our office. When I first moved out, we had temporary space in Morristown. I think New Jersey was just more comfortable for me, having come from the farm to Chicago. But, I saw that like I saw everything else in my life. It was an opportunity to have an impact, an opportunity to do something new, try something different. And
So
my
how
life
does
has been full of opportunities.
So how does a kid come to New Jersey and starts building a business? Did you have any clients in New York at that time yet?
In 2001, I did not. When I moved out here in 2003, I had 4 clients, 1 in New Jersey and 3 in New York.
And they were all
2
banking?
of which I had just picked up a few months before I moved out
And
here.
all of them were in the banking
All
field?
in banking, yes.
So you come out here, you told me, I think you came out with 2 partners also?
Yes.
So there were the 3 of you, starting initially, as you said, in Morristown, then moving to Livingston. And so from 2003, when did they make you a partner? Because the kid over here has brought in a couple of clients, and you're helping to make the location there.
I actually became a partner on October 1st of 2003, and I moved here in December of 2003.
Okay, so you're a partner now of a firm, and you're growing the practice. So when did the office make you the managing partner of the New Jersey office?
So in New Jersey, I became the managing partner probably 7-8 years ago, really when my other two partners retired a year apart. So they came out to help me build the business.
How do you network? How do you grow the business? How do you take this evolution of the Midwest firm dealing with a different environment?
I think I was fortunate to be in the industry that I'm in because the banking industry is very close. It's very tight-knit, and there's lots of opportunities to network. There's lots of conferences, there's lots of seminars. And so we were able to get involved in those, and we were able to be thought leaders and be speakers and training and educating.
Because your firm has truly built a niche in the smaller banks. And it's not, some of the banks that you do have, like Sterling has revenues of over 31, assets of $31 billion. So we're not talking about small banks. You took small banks. You told me when you came over, I think Bridgehampton was one of the clients that you brought. That was one of your first clients. What was your other first client?
Smithtown.
Bank of Smithtown. So
and, First National Bank of Long Island.
Two of them are alive. One of them is deceased. But the point is that banking has changed, and many of these banks got hurt because of their overexposure in real estate in the early 2000s over there.
Yeah, I think we were just very fortunate that our firm was growing as these banks were growing. We got very involved in a lot of IPOs earlier in the days when a lot of the mutuals were going public. And so we built an expertise in the SEC space. And, again, we've been fortunate that while we're auditing much larger banks now as a firm, we've grown at the same time as our clients have grown. And so it's worked out well.
So when do you decide that Livingston is fine, but maybe we should open up in New York City? When does that take place?
I think we always had anticipated that. We knew we needed to be in New York, but we felt like we needed to start in New Jersey in terms of the cost of the office and people. We actually then acquired a small firm in New York not long after, maybe 5 years after we'd opened in New Jersey. And then we really built out our New York office.
So that was 2008 when you opened that.
I think 2009 maybe was when we actually...
Now you said to me they had a different special, they were in banking, but they had more of a high net worth family office type of business.
Yeah, much more on the tax consulting side of things, more high net worth, definitely.
So when does the firm say, we got this really good banker, this auditor who understands banking, when do they put you as the chairperson of the board, which is a major accomplishment? When does that take place?
So I've been on the board now for 5 years, and that occurs through our partners. Our partners nominate and vote and elect.
How many partners do you have?
We have about 300 partners. So I've been on the board for 5 years. I'm in my second 3-year term. And I've been the chairman of the board now for 2 years. And it's the board that elects the chair on an annual basis.
So how much time do you have to do traveling to Chicago and around the nation being the chairperson?
I travel at least monthly back to Chicago. That's generally where we have our board meetings because it's central, because our board comes from all different parts of the country. And then there's other things that I participate in, whether it be some of our leadership training or certain events that the firm is involved in.
Speaking of leadership training, you've been honored for a number of things. Tell me about some of the honors.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. I was honored in 2016 as one of New Jersey's 50 best women in business.
Right, by NJ Biz, right?
NJ Biz, yes. And most recently, just in March of this year, I was very honored to accept an award on behalf of our firm. For the first time, our firm was made the top 100 best places to work from Fortune, and also the best places to work for women. And they asked us to have a woman be honored to accept that award on behalf of the firm for contribution to, I think they called it a great place to work for all.
Great. So tell me how you met the boy from Brooklyn.
You know, he's a banker. I'm in banking.
So you met Dom, who was a client, right? The bank was a client.
Well, when I met him, he was with the Federal Home Loan Bank of New
Okay,
York. So
right,
at the
right.
time, yeah.
So you met Dom, what year did you meet Dom?
I probably first met him, you know, in 2001 at various conferences. And that's when I was starting to travel out here and attend all of these events. So I met a lot of people that really have, I think, been instrumental in helping me network and, you know, really build what I've built.
And you and Dom got married, what, 10th anniversary is coming
Yes,
up.
2008. Just celebrated our 10th year anniversary.
So let's talk about family, okay? You have a sister, you said to me?
I have one sister.
Where does she live?
She lives back in Franklin, actually Jacksonville, Illinois.
And tell me about your kids, Dom and your kids, your
Yep.
adopted kids. Tell me.
Yes, yes. So I have 3 stepchildren, Nicole, Michael, and Victoria.
Okay, so tell me about each one. You got to, okay, Michael is a banker, right?
Michael is a banker, commercial loan officer, doing
Right.
very well.
And Nicole?
Nicole is currently working for a company really on movie sets that gets very involved in the set, the costumes, the makeup, and, you know, really helping as they film TV shows and movies.
And the last but not least?
And Victoria is a school psychologist for a middle school in Brooklyn.
So, you know, I think for a person who grew up in Franklin, who never really saw the Big Apple, it shows that if you have, as I've said often to you, and I gave the acronym of my SALT, you know, tenacity, there's no question that Wendy has tenacity. A, you've adapted, you've taken opportunities. L, there's been a little luck, no question. But you definitely take the S. You've seized the opportunities when you seized the opportunity for the firm coming to New York, New Jersey and New York.
Mm-hmm.
You've seized the opportunity of taking opportunities and taking care of the community, and you've done a great job, and thanks for being here today.
Thank you very much. I very much enjoyed it.